Rabbi Friend comments on what it says in the Haggadah, Vayishma Hashem es koleinu. Hashem listened to our voices. Right? We screamed and Hashem listened. So Rabbi Friend asks, well, what's the chiddush that Hashem listens? It says, Ki imtzak yitzak elai. Because if the almana, the orphan, cries out, Shama eshket eshma tzakasai, I will hear their cries. And the Gemara tells us it's not just an almana or a yasam, it's dibur b'hoiva, but it's anybody who cries out, Hashem listens. Ki kel shemeh tfilas kol peh. What's the special lesson of a Yishma Hashem es koleinu? So he says a very big yesod, a fundamental yesod, which I want to. We're starting off the shir now with a very great lesson, with a very big yesod of life. He said it's a fulfillment of alachta b'drachav, of walking in the ways of Hashem, to listen to a person that's suffering, even if that person you cannot help. Cannot help. Here's a person, they're going to foreclose on his house. He has $300,000 credit card debt, and you can't help him. But there's a big mitzvah of walking in the ways of Hashem to listen to him. And he cites a Gemara in Shabbos, which carries such a powerful proof to this. Gemara in Shabbos tells us, it's a Gemara in Shabbos, it's good to take it out and learn it inside. Gemara in Shabbos, Nun Hey Amud Aleph, the Gemara says that a woman came to Shmuel, and she started crying. Now Shmuel couldn't help her, so v'lo yashkich ba. He didn't give her a chance. He didn't give her time. He didn't pay attention. So Rabbi Yehuda, his Talmud, asked the Rebbe, isn't the Rebbe in agreement with what it says in Mishlei? Oitim oiznoi, that if somebody shuts their ear, mizakas dal, from the cry of the needy, gam hu yikre v'lo yana, then in his time, he'll call out and he won't be answered? Isn't the Rebbe concerned of that wisdom of Shlomo HaMelech? That oitim oiznoi mizakas dal, that if you shut your ears from the cry of the needy, gam hu yikre v'lo yana, then when you're going to have to call out, then Hashem won't answer you, he won't give you the time. Amalei, so Shmuel answered, Shinana, he said to his student Rabbi Yehuda, sharp one, Reishech Bekrira, your Rebbe, me, I'm in cold water, I'm not going to get into trouble. Reishech, the Reishech, your Rebbe's Rebbe, he's referring to, Shmuel's referring to his Rebbe, Mar Ukva, that had the wherewithal to help this woman, and obviously he didn't. Reishech, the Reishech Bechamima, your Rebbe's Rebbe is in hot water. But I'm in the clear. I can't help her. There's nothing I can do for her. So Tosfos cites a remarkable thing. Many times we've mentioned the Gemara in Bava Basra Daf Yud that tells us that Rabbi Yosef, the son of Rabbi Yeshua, got sick and he went into a trance. He went into a coma. When he came out of the coma, they asked him what he saw. And he said he saw an oilam hafach, a topsy-turvy world. Elyonim lamato v'tachtonim lamal. Those that are high in this world were below in that world. Those that are below in this world were high in that world. So Rashi learns the Pasha of Pshat, that the rich miser that's high up over here will be, very low there. And the honest pauper that's low here will be high over there. Ramosha asks that's no chiddush. We don't need somebody to come out of a coma to tell us that. Ramosha says his famous pshat, it means that we're going to be judged according to how much we achieved of our potential, so that the great Rosh Hashiva over here that knows Shas Baal Peh, and the Baal Tshuva from Ashkash Begash, the Baal Tshuva that hardly knows anything and is noticed down here, but in the next world he might be higher than the great Rosh Hashiva. Because the great Rosh Hashiva started on the 10th rung and he climbed to the 12th rung. But the Baal Tshuva started on the bottom rung and he climbed to the 4th rung. So he climbed more. That's where Ramosha learns. But Tosfos on this Gemara cites that the Geonim had a tradition from Rabbeinu Hananel that which Rav Yosef saw in the coma was Elyonim Lamata, was his Rebbe Shmuel, who was Elyonim in this world, will be Lamata, will be below Rebbe Yehuda, and Tachtoinim Lamala, and Rebbe Yehuda was the Talmud in this world, would become Shmuel's Rebbe in the next world. Because of this teaching in this Gemara, that Rebbe Yehuda said to Shmuel, why didn't you pay attention to her? And that means, paraphrases Rabbi Frand, that although we find in Shas that Shmuel taught Rebbe Yehuda 500 teachings, over 500 teachings, this teaching that somebody that's in need, even if you can't help them, you have to stop and give them time, was more important than all the 500 teachings that Shmuel taught Rebbe Yehuda. That's why in the next world, Rebbe Yehuda will be on top of Shmuel. That's how important it is to fulfill the V'halachta b'dracha vayishma Hashem es kolein. Now I have to tell you, I casually saw this vart, and it made such a roshim on me that that's why I switched the shir to say from Rabbi Frand. Because I remember that when my shviger passed away, Mrs. Devorah Gelptuch Allah Hashem, she was secretary of Rav Henkin. When she passed away, Rav Singer from Bialystok, Olav Shalom, was maspid my shviger that she was from the last of the listeners. She said, in today's world, people don't have time to listen to people. Said, my shviger, listen to people. And the truth of the matter is that was true of my Rebbitzin too. My Rebbitzin said that her biggest role model in life was her mother. My Rebbitzin always listened to people. People would call her up, and she would say, call me after 10:15, my husband is in Shir, and I'll give you all the time you need. And this is even if she was tired, if she was planning to give, I'll give you all the time you need. Or come on over. And she would sit and listen. If it was a young mother that was overwhelmed with her children, with her duties in the house, she would tell her, you're doing a great job. I couldn't do as good as you. If it was somebody that was having problems in their marriage, she would sit and listen, and she would say to them, hang in there. Not that she had always what to tell people, but she would listen. And she would say, I'm going to think of you, and you could call me anytime. And it gave people relief. So it says in Chazal, Daga b'leivish yasichenu la'acherim. It doesn't say yasichenu l'chacham. It says yasichenu la'acherim. Tell others. Just being able to talk to somebody that empathizes. You know, there's a whole industry of therapy. A lot of times I don't know how much the therapy helps. Sometimes it makes it worse. But it is an industry, at least somebody is sitting and listening to a person for an hour. And if the therapist, she or he, is any good, to at least listen and empathize. Now, unfortunately, you have to pay money for that because people don't have time to listen. It's a big mitzvah. It's a big mitzvah of alachta b'drachav to sit and listen to a person, even if you don't have an eitzah. It's a famous story that a person lost his family in the Shoah, in the Holocaust, and he gave up on his Yiddishkeit. Gave up on everything. Didn't keep Shabbos. Somebody once convinced him to speak to the Klosenberger Rebbe. So finally he agreed. He went to the Klosenberger Rebbe and he said to the Klosenberger Rebbe, he lost his whole family in the war. He can't keep Yiddishkeit anymore. So the Rebbe told him, listen, I lost my wife and my 11 children. Let me hold your hand and let's cry together. The Rebbe didn't tell him anything. They cried together. So the man said that helped him. He came back to Yiddishkeit. And Aguna went to Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel and asked him, why did Hashem take away her young husband, the father of her children, leaving her alone? And Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel said, I don't have an answer for you. Come, let's together say Tillim together. They sat and they said Tillim together. She said he helped her. And then later on, when Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel had advanced Parkinson's, somebody came over who was suffering bitterly with a medical problem. And Rav Nosson Tzvi said, I don't even have the strength to say Tillim. Please take the Tillim. You'll say Tillim and I'll cry with you. Helps to listen. It helps to be empathetic.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.